Dangle podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle and Adam Wilde.
Okay, so welcome to another edition. Man, okay, I just want to throw this out here. When we record this podcast, guys, it's the 19th of August already.
Whoa.
19th of August. That means that we are, less than 40 days away from the start of the season?
Less than 40 days. Yep.
Pretty damn good. And we got a great show coming up. We got to talk about Notice not worried about signing Kadri and Franzen and why Steve Dangle, who's sitting across from me right now, probably is.
Yeah.
You're worried, right?
I'm a little... I'm a high-strung person. I have coffee before every episode. It's not good for my health.
Also want to talk about the Leafs' top 20 prospects. That's what I'm trying to say. Also, some long-term deals to announce in the NHL. And we need to talk about Daniel Alfredsson. But first, we're going to speak to a guy named Ben Fanelli. I'm not sure if you know this name or not, but Ben is a really interesting guy. I know Steve knows him, and Steve actually booked him for this interview. Ben, welcome to the Steve Dangle podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning here, which is October 31st, 2009. You were playing against the Kitchener Rangers. Who were you playing for at the time?
No, he was playing for the Kitchener Rangers.
Oh, you're playing for.
Adam, you rookie.
I am sorry. That's a great way to start off an interview. I know nothing about you. No. So explain to us what happened.
Well, I mean, from my point of view, I was in Brampton the night before and then just kind of woke up. But what happened was I was in playing in the odds and was hit behind the net, and my helmet came off and my head had hit the beam holding up the glass, and it was a pretty scary night. But it was an unlucky couple seconds there. But ever since then, I've been really blessed and extremely lucky to be where I am today.
Right. I mean, in this left you left you completely unconscious, and you were bleeding on the ice. Yeah, I was in and out of consciousness. I wasn't completely out, but I was pretty down there.
And it's weird that you say, from your perspective, the night before was Brampton, right? So I guess it took away your memory of that night. I have a friend who he experienced a concussion during a hockey game, a pretty bad one. He stopped playing as a result, but he played the best game of his life that night because the entire night it was 1-1. Meanwhile, he scored like 3 or 4 goals, and it was a 5-1 victory for his team. He had no idea what the score is.
Wow.
But I'm sure you've heard stories like that, because out of something negative, which was that experience, something positive has happened, and you now have your organization Headstrong.
Yeah.
So, tell us about that, because I mean, this is really the perfect example of taking something crazy, as Steve said, crazy negative, and turning it into a huge positive.
Yeah, I was, lucky enough to have the support of the Kitchener Rangers. I think that was the biggest thing, and I was back for my second year, which I was already a little frustrated missing my first year, but I felt like I wasn't doing enough. I was doing a lot of training and decided to train for a triathlon too, along with Headstrong. I had more to give, and I was lucky enough to be independent and be with % yield, let alone have the plan to play hockey again. So I was so lucky to be where I was at that point, and I wanted to do anything I could to help out other people that go through what I went through, and Headstrong seemed like the perfect idea.
So first off, before we talk about the charity itself, how much time did you miss? Did you miss a whole season?
I missed after the first, I think it was the 12th game or something of the season, my first year, and then the whole second season. So almost 2 seasons.
Wow. Okay. And so tell us about Headstrong. What's the charity all about?
Well, I do a lot of talks and stuff, and try to get the word out there through Twitter and stuff, and I just try to spread the word about brain injuries and brain injury awareness and things like that. And then it also raises money for the Brain Injury Association of Canada. So it's been pretty successful, and it continues to grow, which is a great thing.
Have you noticed a change in culture or Headstrong's impact on the O or in minor hockey or any hockey in general?
Yeah, I have. I think it's it's opened a lot of people's eyes to how serious they are, and the fact that it is an epidemic. And it's not something that'll really, right now it doesn't look like it'll really ever have a complete, stop for brain injuries and concussions in sport. People are just, if accidents happen and, people are doing what they love and sometimes things go wrong, especially the speed of sport these days. Things can, happen in the blink of an eye, and it happens, and we just have to, be prepared to deal with it and how to deal with it.
And along those lines, what have they told you about your specific case, your own brain injury?
Pardon?
What have they told you about, your concussion and the doctors, right? Like, have you recovered fully? Do you ever recover fully for someone that's never had a concussion before? What can you tell us about yourself?
Yeah, I just have recovery. I was extremely lucky, like I said, so things are, as they always were, and I'm very lucky to have that.
Yeah, okay.
Well, and sorry, we talk, I guess irregularly on Twitter every now and then, and I guess I just lost track, and I apologize, but you've been you were at the Rangers rookie camp or whatever, not Kitchener Rangers, you were at the New York Rangers camp a couple months ago, and you're going to another camp of theirs coming up?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to be at the New York Rangers development camp, and that went extremely well. It was a great experience on and off the The facility there is unbelievable. And then they told me I'd be invited to Traverse City for the tournament. And there's about 8 other NHL prospect teams there. And hopefully, things go well again, and I managed to get the invite to the main camp. That's the goal, and see what I can do.
How exciting for kids, all kids in the room here that grew up wanting to just attend one camp. How exciting is it to be at a camp like that? Run it down. What's the experience like? Are you able to does it even sink in for you?
What's the food like?
Yeah.
It's to put into words. I mean, I've always been in a Ranger jersey too, which is kind of cool, from Oakville Rangers to Kitchener Rangers to being at New York camp. So that was pretty cool. But it was, I was in awe the entire week, from being in a facility like that, playing on a nice surface that pros practice on every day. It's you just have to block that out and pretend you're playing on your backyard rink when you go to stuff like that, and you just got to enjoy it, because those opportunities don't come around every day.
No, and how was it when you got the call?
It's really cool. It was exciting. I got an email, and then the next day a letter came in the mail, and the letter was where it really sank in. I mean, that was one thing, but to hold a letter with the New York Rangers picture on it and stuff, it was pretty special. Yeah,
I mean, that has to be the coolest thing in the world. Like,
I got a phone bill recently. That was holy crap.
So did I, and I work for the company.
Yeah.
Ben, I have to say, that has got to be the coolest thing. So when you got to tell your parents that you were going to a New York Rangers camp, what was their reaction? I mean, they're the ones that I'm assuming took you to all the practices and the games and built the backdoor rink, and
Yeah. I think it was pretty similar feeling. They've been nothing but supportive, my whole career, and especially after what had happened, they were hesitant about, the decision to go back to play, but it was, it ended up being a pretty easy decision after they saw how hard I worked to get back, and, I'm back to the point I always wanted to be at, where I'm, the same as everyone else, working for a contract and going to play pro hockey one day, and I think they're, just as excited as myself.
When you take 2 years off hockey, does it come back quickly? I mean, you've been playing it your whole life, but is it like a bicycle, or is it like, wow, I really have to work at this?
Somewhat. The basics come back pretty quick. I mean, I was on the ice still, practicing, skating and shooting, working out pretty hard. So I think, the basics come back pretty easy, but then it's, the mindset and, the muscle memory of what to do in certain spots on the ice, and knowing who guys are. I think that comes with time, and I think that's why my past season was, better than my first season back, just because I learned so much and was able to, start back on the track where I wanted to be.
What was it like finally scoring your first OHL goal? Because I remember I wasn't able to watch at the time, but I ended up seeing the YouTube video, and Twitter kind of went nuts for you, even people who have never seen a single Kitchener Rangers game.
Yeah, it was a cool experience. I remember it, very clearly, and came in on the point, and got a pass from Eric Ming, and just threw it on net, tried to get a puck on a rebound or something, and it went in. And Josh Sturk was the first one to come to me and gave me a big hug, and yeah, it was a pretty electric feeling.
As a Leafs fan, I'm going to be selfish for a minute here. Yep. Your coach was Steve Spott for a while, and now he's the coach of the Toronto Marlies, new head coach. What can we expect out of this guy? What's he going to do?
He's quite professional. I feel like he always treated everyone pros at in Kitchener, and I think if he's going to take that up a notch at the actual pro level, I think it'll be unbelievable. I would. Those Marley guys are lucky to get a guy like Steve. I personally, I learned so much. I mean, he took me from missing 2 years to teaching me so much that I had the opportunity to talk with a few NHL teams and have, a chance to go to a development. So that just kind of shows how much I did learn in 2 seasons. So, and then, he gets guys to work hard. He's got a way to get fire under everyone's butt and get them moving on game nights, and I think that's something special that he has that I haven't had that in all my coaches, and he's just got that ability to get everyone going every day.
Yeah. If you don't mind me jumping in here, how does he do it? Like, is he a loud guy? Is he a quiet guy? Is it he's a great motivational speaker?
Yeah, I think it's the way he words things is pretty good. He's got some unbelievable pregame talks, and he tells you what you need to do, and it's fair too, which is great. And he just makes sure that he makes sure you take what's the word I'm looking for? Like, for your actions, he makes sure that you
accountability.
Yes, exactly, and that's key. And I think he makes sure he enforces that, and it works. It gets the play 100%.
It would sound like he's an encouraging guy too. I'm sure on a personal level for you, especially.
Yeah. So Calder Cup inbound. There you go. That's exactly what he's telling us. Yeah. That's what I read. All
right, Ben, thank you. First off, Ben Fanelli, thank you so much for coming on the show. We had a blast talking to you. Let's give him a round of applause.
3 people in studio.
Ben, yeah, I know. We didn't fake our applause there. That it was a real live applause. It doesn't sound as good when you're not in an arena of 20,000.
Organic is what I like to call it.
Yeah, organic. Yeah. Ben, can you give us a link? Like, what if we wanted to look more into Headstrong, your charity, where would we find information on that?
Through the Ranger website, there's links to find it, as well as the OHL website. There's links you can click, and that'll take you to the web page, and it'll take you to the website for the Brain Injury Association of Canada, so you can see where the money's going and how things are working. And also my Twitter page, I'm always putting out stuff that I'm doing in the community. Or
what's your handle?
It's at BF and then the number 4 and then Headstrong, and that's where I try to promote a lot of it and put out there what I can to spread the word.
Beautiful, and we'll of course link to your Twitter and Headstrong and all that along with this podcast. So anyone listening right now, look on the page, click.
Yeah.
It's very good.
And Ben, again, thank you so much. Good luck. We can't wait to follow your story and kick some ass out there.
Thank you very much. It was awesome, being on this. I listen to them all the time and a big supporter of you guys, so thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
Well, gosh, gee willikers.
Yeah.
Now I like him more.
Now I want to hug him.
Now I want him to get 2 roster spots.
Yeah, well, he's big enough that he could. Yeah. I don't know if you know much about Ben, and Ben, I'm talking about you as if you're not listening, but Ben is a big, strong defenseman.
Oh, well, he's a good old Canadian boy. He's one of those guys. He goes out there, he's all heart and soul. He's a good guy. Number 4. Number 5, I can think of another pretty good one. Sorry. That's all I'm saying.
Ben, thanks once again. And you know what? We'd like to follow up with you if that's okay. I'd love to have you back on.
Oh, that'd be great. Whenever you want, I'll be there.
All right, great. Well, we're going to follow your story, and all the best to you. And go live our dream for us, okay?
For sure. Thank you so much.
Take care, Ben.
Take care.
You too. Bye.